Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Monday, the 9th day of August. Today is National Rice Pudding Day. It's National Book Lovers Day. You're a book lover.
I am a book
What is your
lover.
favorite kind of book, by the way?
Thrillers.
Who's your favorite author?
Harlan Coben.
Have I ever had Harlan on this program?
I don't believe so.
Should I have Harlan on this program?
Sure, yeah.
If I had Harlan, would you join me for that interview?
No.
I've tried. I always have people say, why doesn't Heidi do the interviews with you? I'm like, I asked her to. She's not interested ever. So, National Veep Day. So it's like Vice President Veep. Today's the day to celebrate the Veep. And it is a movie star Monday. My guest today, Tim Robbins.
Oh, how cool is that?
I'm so excited to visit with Tim Robbins. He was in Shawshank Redemption, Bull
Yeah.
Durham. I mean, big long list of a bunch of movies. Super nice dude, too. We were going to talk last week, and I asked him if we could bump it to this week. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just bumped Tim Robbins. What am I doing?
Exactly.
But I had somebody who their movie was coming out last Friday, so he was gracious enough to work with me. So if you could do me a favor and stick around later in the program, we're going to be visiting with Mr. Tim Robbins on this Movie Star Monday.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timforrehab.com. They want to help. Timforrehab.com. That's timforrehab.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A new survey shows that only half of adults actually know what a carbon footprint even means. The same survey asked 2,000 people about their attitude towards climate change. They discovered 3/4 of the respondents agreed climate change is an existential threat to future generations, but then many of them didn't even know what that meant. So, again, I understand. I'm not smart. I don't know what all things mean, but there are times that I want to do the right thing, and I think this is the right thing. So at the end of the day, I kind of think like they're making fun of them, but I'm moving on. An overwhelming majority of U.S. employees who are currently working from home because of COVID don't want to go back to the office full-time rather. According to a survey, 10% of employees surveyed want to go back to brick-and-mortar offices. 73% of managers polled said 2 or 3 days in the office, and the rest working from home would be the preferred hybrid model. What do you think, Heidi?
I don't know.
You don't have a preference?
I like going into work, so I'm pretty happy the way things are going now. So
whatever works for you is, I think, the way it should be. So I think that there are probably a lot of different ways. Some who do well working at home, others who need somebody to, be there to tell them, hey, get back to work. I happen to have Heidi, so I have that wherever I go. Surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com.
Do you have a credit card? We'd like to help you get a better credit card. If you don't have any credit cards, we'd like to help you too. At BetterCreditCards.com, we have credit cards that offer different things for different people. Some cards offer points. Some cards are designed to help you build your credit. BetterCreditCards.com wants to help you get a better credit card, no matter what you're looking for. See if we can help you find a better credit card at BetterCreditCards.com. That's BetterCreditCards.com.
This is your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by timforrehab.com. Sheriff deputies had quite the bust on their hand when they pulled over an ATV, which, first of all, you'd think, who would be driving around on an ATV? Because a lot of the time, I don't know if this was being operated legally, but even if it was, you could certainly see what they have. There's not a lot of places to hide things.
Sure, you wouldn't think so.
And this person had a bunch of meth and a bunch of heroin and a whole bunch of cash. And, they got pulled over. 31-year-old Aaron Cordell was incarcerated and jailed, possession of narcotics, possession of a firearm while under disability. He wasn't supposed to have that because of some other charges. Further charges could be added as the investigation continues. But he's got quite the rap sheet of stuff that he did while he was out goofing around on an ATV. You would think if you're doing a bunch of illegal stuff,
you kind of want to lay low.
You try not to draw attention to
yourself. And
yourself.
ATVs are going to stand out. It's not like there's more of those than there are vehicles.
Exactly.
So that's crazy.
I'm not really sure what the plan was there, but whatever it was, it backfired. That is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Paris Hilton has a new Netflix show, Cooking with Paris. We talked about that. Now it's out. And the Harris. Okay, it's Eris, but it's got an H. I just thought it'd be fun to say Harris.
Yeah.
She whips up meals with various celebrity friends like Kim Kardashian and Demi Lovato and others, and reveals that the kitchen is, quote, not her natural environment. Ha ha. Throughout the 6 episodes, she's seen cooking in designer frocks, high heels, and fingerless gloves.
Of course.
I wonder how that will do in the ratings. Think a lot of people will watch it?
Probably.
Hair
Most
and
likely,
makeup
yes.
for Lily James. She's playing Pamela Anderson in the new Hulu miniseries Pam and Tommy. They say it takes 3 to 5 hours a day to make her look like Pam. The British actress, by the way, really does have an uncanny resemblance to a young Pamela Anderson.
Really?
So when it's all said and done, they're saying, well, some of that's because we're spending 5 hours a day to make her look that way. But even if you didn't have a stitch of makeup or anything, you can still see where they go, oh, yeah, I can see why they cast her.
Okay.
So there you go. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now your scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of PureCanaCompany.com, promo code radio. Italian sprinter Lamon Marcel Jacobs is now the fastest man in the world after winning the men's 100-meter sprint in an upset. So how cool is that? That's like last week sometime.
Okay.
Again, I have not really been keeping up with the Olympics.
Me either.
I get this. And here's the thing. I never know where to put this. Should I put it in the big screen, little screen? Because all this stuff is on TV.
Right.
Do I put it in the news from somewhere in this world? Because it's all happening in a different part of the world. So I'm going to put it here. Otherwise, it just kind of sits there forever. This is a bizarre story. And I was even trying to decide, do I even read this? But I'm going to read it because, again, it's news. But I'm going to read it and move on. We're not going to comment. We're not going to dig into this. And I'm not trying to upset anybody. I'm going to read the story word for word. Here's what it says, word for word. And there's a link if you want to read all the details. According to a new investigation into the origins of COVID-19, the virus leaked from the Wuhan lab sometime before September 12, 2019. Again, reading word for word. With China's Communist Party keeping it under wraps in the greatest cover-up of all time. That was a quote that was in the story because it's in quotes. The report showed a preponderance of evidence proves that all roads lead to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the bat research lab, already eyed as a source for the pandemic. End of quote, end of story. So I've got a link to that if you want to read the details on it. I got this last week. I decided not to read it because I'm like, I don't want to upset anybody. But then again, I'm not saying anything other than what I just read word for word. Moving over here. This is cool. Did you see this online? They found SpongeBob and Patrick Star hanging out together.
Really?
Yeah. A marine expedition found what looks like SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star hanging out together at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
There's a yellow sponge and a little pink star. And this photo has been floating all over the internet, and I can see why. Because the second you see it, you go, oh, I can definitely see that. So,
Okay,
fun
cute.
stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is a great quote from Benjamin Franklin. At InsuranceChicken.com, we know a thing or two about great quotes. We help people get great insurance quotes every day. It's super simple and free to find out if we can make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay, I can't guarantee that, but I can assure you we'd love to help at InsuranceChicken.com. We want to help you peck out great deals on insurance. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Very excited to visit right now with Mr. Tim Robbins. Tim, you've got a really fun project you're working on here. Tell me a little bit about this new play that you guys are doing. And again, I think this is a really, really cool idea. Tell me a little bit about We Live On.
So when the pandemic hit and we went into lockdown as a theater company, we were faced with an enormous challenge of how do we continue to work on new pieces without being able to assemble in the same room. And so we started working on Zoom, and we started working with material that we felt was going to be resonant with the times we're living in. And so we found this beautiful book called Hard Times, written by Studs Terkel, which tells stories of common folk that got through the challenges of living through the Great Depression. And so about a month and a half ago, we started performing it in we realized that the audiences were really responding to it, so I've decided to try to make it available for people throughout the country so that they can have a similar experience to our audiences in Los Angeles.
And I think that's a really cool idea. A lot of the people listening right now probably know you from the big screen, from the movies that you've been in, but you kind of got your start on the stage, and now you're back doing a lot of cool stuff on the stage with the Actors Gang Theater. Is it kind of cool to be on stage and see the audience reacting to what you're doing? That's got to be a pretty cool experience.
Well, it's always been at the core of the way I work. I've got my training in the theater. Of course, in these times, we face a different challenge because we can't actually be in the same room with people. So what we've figured out was we had to adapt the way that we work to a much more intimate and personal experience. So that when I was working with my actors, I was telling them to imagine that they were talking to just one person across from them in a bar and telling them a story in a very intimate way. Once we started doing that, we started to break down the problems with what Zoom can be, and we feel like we're telling stories that really resonating for now, and it's actually working. I didn't know that it was going to work. When we did our first shows in June, I quite frankly was dreading them because Zoom is a difficult medium, but it started to work, and then each show is about an hour and 20 minutes, and we found that people were staying afterwards to talk about it, and for another hour, and so I think we have something here, and I wanted to share it with people.
I think it's really cool. And the performances are happening right now. They're going on now through September 4th. And if people would like to see these, what is the website they go to find the performances?
They go to theactorsgang.com. We do part 1 on Thursdays, part 2 on Fridays, part 3 on Saturdays. It starts at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And they're all live performances. The actors are all live from their various apartments and various locations throughout the country, and we're hoping that people join us. It's a live experience.
And one of the things that's really cool, I've not seen this done before, but I love that you're doing this. Admission is pay what you can, and even if that means, hey, I can't afford to pay, but I'd like to see, you even extend free tickets to some folks. I think that's really cool. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, I think it's important. We've always done it as a theater company. We've always had that policy that one show per week is a pay-what-you-can performance. We always were under the belief that theater shouldn't be just for people that have wealth. It shouldn't be an elitist art form. It should be something that is accessible to everybody. And so this is a way that we can, of course, we're a nonprofit theater company. Of course, we can use donations, but I think it's more important at this time to be able to share what we're doing on a virtual platform for everybody, regardless of income.
That is fantastic. And if I don't mention some of your movies while I've got you on the phone, I'll probably get yanked off the air forever. So we got to talk for just a second at least about Shawshank Redemption and some of these other amazing movies. Do you see yourself doing big screen projects again in the future as well?
I would love to. Unfortunately, they're not doing a lot of big screen projects that are stories that I want to tell right now, but I have hopes that will change.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it, and we're going to put a link on our page to make it easy for folks to find this production as well. I think it looks like a lot of fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Again, Tim Robbins has been our guest today, and it's called We Live On, and it's based on Hard Times by Studs Terkel. I've got a link to all of the information where you can find the live production, everything, in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. They want to help. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Crows, the bird, they hold a grudge. In 2010, researchers in Seattle found that formerly captured crows were able to remember the face of their abductor years after the incident.
Really?
Once they identified the suspect in question, they would threaten them by diving down and swarming the person, that they had felt threatened by years before.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
So, moral of the story is don't ever mess with a crow because they
No.
will not forget. So, crows are a kind of interesting bird, really, aren't they? Because they can almost talk too, can't they? Is there
I
some?
have no
I'm
idea.
pretty
I don't
sure.
know a lot about crows.
I know a group of crows is called a murder of
yes,
crows.
it is.
I don't know why
and
that
knowing
is.
that they keep a grudge,
Yeah, maybe that's
that
why.
probably makes sense.
Probably does. That is today's fun fact. Now you know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a credit card? We'd like to help you get a better credit card. If you don't have any credit cards, we'd like to help you too. At bettercreditcards.com, we have credit cards that offer different things for different people. Some cards offer points. Some cards are designed to help you build your credit. Bettercreditcards.com wants to help you get a better credit card, no matter what you're looking for. See if we can help you find a better credit card at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Now, RadioTravelGroup.com presents a news headline from somewhere in this world. Dateline, North Korea. A skinnier, thinner, trimmer Kim Jong-un was pictured in a baggy gray pinstripe suit. He greeted commanders and political officers in the Korean People's Army in Pyongyang. South Korea's National Intelligence Service has estimated that the North Korea former chubby dictator has lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 44 pounds.
So is he ill or has he been trying?
I don't
to lose?
know. So online, the thing that's, again,
That's what people have been kind of speculating on.
that he's ill. Now, I got to tell you, I'm looking at photo. I just clicked on here to see, is this something new? I'm looking at the photos, and he still is not a skinny man by any means. And I can say that because I'm a bigger person, too. So would I like to lose 44 pounds? You bet I would. But again, as I look at this, I don't think he looks sickly by any means. So, and if he's losing weight, I'm happy for him. That's good. Can you imagine you lose a little weight and it's global news? Like
Right?
that's-
How awful would
that would be that is a news headline from somewhere in this world.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. A New Jersey woman stole an oil tanker truck and took it for an 8-hour joyride.
Holy cow.
Yeah, don't know why, but 44-year-old Camille Weskett allegedly stole an oil truck at 12:30 p.m. Saturday, was not arrested till 8:30 that night, 80 miles away from where she stole the truck. During her alleged several-hour joyride, she was involved in several motor vehicle accidents in several different jurisdictions. She also said they say she proved too slippery to catch in the stolen truck, involved in several vehicle pursuits with several different agencies throughout the day. One included state troopers who followed the truck after GPS pinned it to a trailer park in Upper Pittsgrove. It says most of the pursuits were broken off for safety reasons. Her wild ride came to a crude end. See what they did there, because it was an oil
truck. I get that.
with police forcing themselves into the cab after getting calls of an erratic driver trying to fill up with gas. So she stopped to get gas.
That happens quite a bit too, actually.
She was charged with receiving stolen property, obstruction of justice, and resisting arrest.
Huh.
So not a good way to end the day.
I wonder what the plan was there.
Oh, no. It's today's weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by BetterResultsAdvertising.com. Authorities say a man broke into a series of ice cream shops and was arrested when he did it again, even though he was wearing an electronic tether. That's the ankle bracelet.
The ankle monitor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So he was already arrested for doing this. Then they let him out, and they're like, okay, but we're going to monitor
But
where you
be
go.
good.
Going to watch what you do. And 11 ice cream shops were broken into.
Oh, man.
I don't understand why he would have done that. So I'm reading through. I'm kind of skimming through it's a long story. Patrol car noticed a person running. Another deputy caught that person. It was 25-year-old Cameron Harris, had outstanding warrants, released with an electronic tether. After that happened, that's when a bunch of other places were broken into, and they were able to check his tether location. They found out that he was here, and he was here. So I don't know if he didn't understand what that tether did,
Right.
But
it clearly is monitoring everything that you do.
made their job a whole lot easier.
Sure
It's
did.
today's moment of duh.
Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is a great quote from Benjamin Franklin. At InsuranceChicken.com, we know a thing or two about great quotes. We help people get great insurance quotes every day. It's super simple and free to find out if we can make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay, I can't guarantee that, but I can assure you we'd love to help at InsuranceChicken.com. We want to help you peck out great deals on insurance. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Time now for Is It a Golf Course or Is It a Rehab Center? Brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. Heidi, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Lost Creek, Austin, Texas. Is it a golf course or is it a rehab center?
Lost Creek, I'm going to say
Lost
golf
Creek.
course.
And the answer is golf course.
There
You're
we go.
back on track.
I'm back on track. I'm back, baby.
Yeah, you are back, baby. Good job to you, by the way.
Thank you.
This is how we play. It's a fun little game. By the way, I encourage you to play at home. So if you didn't just shout out golf course or rehab, shame on you. I mean, play along. Come on. Everybody else is playing. And we'll do it again tomorrow. How about that? Right here. Same time, same place. It is how we play. Is it a golf course or is it a rehab center? Brought to you by TimeForRehab.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of bettercreditcards.com. And what would you do if you were wandering down the beach and you saw a giant orca laying on the beach? An orca, by the way, is like a whale.
Right. Well, you'd call for help.
So that is exactly what happened. An orca beached itself on the Prince of Wales Island.
That's so
and then
sad.
it had freed itself, according to federal biologists. But during the time that it was stuck there, so when the tide came in, there's some big rocks, and the tide came back out and like flowed between the rocks. Well, the orca was too big to go through those rocks.
Okay.
And then when the tide came back in, the orca couldn't get back out. So this is something that was going to last for several hours. Here's what happened. People who saw the orca, they're like, well, we can't pick up a giant whale, so what shall we do? Well, they did kind of like the ice bucket challenge. They were bringing buckets of water and pouring that on the orca to keep the orca hydrated. They did this for a long time, and then they were communicating with the orca, talking and trying to calm the orca down, because I'm sure the orca was not.
It was panicking, terrified, I'm sure, yeah.
So this happened for quite some time, and the good news is eventually the water got back to where it needed to be, and they were able to watch this orca swim away. So
Wow.
that is really, really cool. But there's several different people who stopped and helped, and you can see photos here. Multiple people throwing buckets of water in that direction, and then some schlub just watching with a video camera. But if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have images. So I guess,
I saw one last week of a shark, too, that was beached. So, yeah, it's a lot of good people out there willing to...
And that's the thing. If you, again, it's not like that's something you're going to do every day, but what would you do if you were in that situation? Do you think you would have done that, or what do you think you would have done?
I absolutely would have helped. You bet.
You know what? I don't know if you would have. There are times that we'll be driving, I'll see somebody in need, and I'll say, hey, we should stop and help them. You're like, we've got places to go.
A whale isn't going to kill me with an axe, John.
Oh, that whale could kill you in many other ways. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.